Okay, video number 3. This is all focused on how it's going to look for the student. And so to kind of emulate that, you're going to need to log in as a student, which is really just yourself. So the same Khan Academy credentials, you'll log in on the other computer that you have right next to you. And so I'm going to go ahead and minimize my window so you can see. So here we are at khanacademy.org/join. Right, and so that's where you need to be on your other computer, the one you're using as a student. And that class code that you got as a teacher, hopefully you wrote down somewhere, or however you want to copy it in there. We need that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of switch back. So whenever I toggle back and forth, this is as if you're going back and forth between your teacher computer and your student one. So here's my teacher computer, right? And I need to go back into that course, that I need to get that code, and it's always found right up here in the upper right hand corner. And if I were you, I'd write that code down if you didn't already. I'm going to go back to my student account, and I'm going to paste that right in and click add, and it knows what the class title is because obviously the code is parallel with that. So I then need to log in with my existing Google account. Now again, for you, hopefully with Khan Academy you've used your Google account to create an account with that. If not, type in your stanco.org email and password there. But I'm going to go ahead and continue with Google. And now I am in as myself, but really I'm going to be acting as a student. Okay, so I hope that's clear with how that works. Now, one thing you need to do, so this is going to be a little bit tricky, but hopefully I can make it clear for you to know what you're doing. So set your student computer aside just for a second and go back to the one you've been using as a teacher. Now that you have a student in your class, okay, when I refresh it, you'll see that there's a student in there, okay, because they have joined. So there we go. We've got one student in my math intervention class. Now, since I've got a student in there, I am able to send out some assignments. And when I do that, that's obviously how I'm going to be able to track their progress depending on how well they do on it. So to assign an assignment under your teacher account, you pick one of the strands in your course. So I'm going to select fractions. I'm going to click the drop down, and maybe I just want them to focus on the fractions introduction, and I'm going to assign intro, cutting shapes, and then the activity to cut shapes into equal parts. So those are the 3 that I want to assign to my specific student. So I'm going to click assign, and I'm going to say to who, since I only have one student, and obviously it's just going to that. You should see your name there as well since you joined as a fake student, and I'm going to assign those 3. Okay, so now that that's done on this teacher side, I'm going to switch back to my student side, right? And I'm going to refresh. And the only reason I have to refresh is because I'm logged in. But your students will see that they've been notified that they've got a new assignment waiting for them right up here by their name. Okay? And so it says I've got 3 notifications, and all that means that there has been 3 new assignments given to me. So I'm going to jump into that. I can click on it as a student, and it'll put me right into what those assignments are. Now I had already had some things going on here, but I just wanted to show you that this is where they're going to start their assignment, and this is where you're actually going to do the assignment as well as if you're a student. So go ahead and choose one of the assignments that you gave. I'm just going to do the cut shapes into equal parts, so I'm going to start that. And literally I want you to walk through this as if you're a student working on this assignment, right? So it's okay if you get a couple wrong. Again, I just want you to see what it looks like when you're working through this as a student, and then how it's going to look when you track the progress as a teacher. So it's asking me, are they divided into equal parts? Looks like that's the only one. Actually, this one is too. Alright, I'm going to quickly go through. I love the little immediate feedback when they get it right. Notice that students can get a video or use a hint when they're working on these as well. And that goes into their practice and tracking their progress as well. So there's that one. If I miss a couple, then it's because I'm going too fast. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself. And 1/3, 1/3. That's not 1/3. Oops, try again. Now that's going to go into the progress. It'll see that I missed that one to really show in my progress if I'm really understanding the concept. So that's really the stuff that you're going to be looking for as the instructor when you track their progress. Keep going. Is this equal? No. 1/4 shaded. Yep. And there we go. So I'll see, it'll tell me right away how I did. And usually it's a little bit quicker than this. There we go. So it shows me that I got an 86%. I reached practiced, and I get 7 correct to reach 100%. Or that's what I need to get 100%. So I'm going to close. And so that's the student side, right? If I want to get better score, I can try again, but I'm going to switch over to the teacher side now. And this is where you can really see how your students are progressing with their math instruction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the progress bar, which is right up the top. So we were in content. I'm now in progress. And for some of you, it might come out in the old progress page, which looks like this. Now, if you like that look, feel free to stick with it. However, I'm going to recommend that you take a look at the new progress page because it kind of gives a good, more overall look as to how your students are doing. So I can jump into fractions because that's what the students were just working on. So I click on that, and right here I can see how well my student did. And in this case, cutting shapes into equal parts, I can see that this student is proficient. Okay. Now, the only bummer about this is you can't necessarily dive in and see how they're proficient, right? Like you can't see the assignment necessarily of what they got right or that one that I got wrong. You just kind of take Khan's word for it, right? And the same goes for familiar, struggling, and those bands. So this is how you'll track students' progress. Again, if you see them falling into the familiar or struggling areas, that's where you can assign it again after you've retaught the lesson or they reviewed something that you've given them. That's where you're going to do that. So this is kind of the gold moment of Khan Academy right here, to where you can track your kids' progress and see how they're progressing as you give them their assignments. So this will be one of the pages that we take a screenshot of here in a little bit. That'll be in my next video, but I wanted to show student side, teacher side. Again, if you have questions, feel free to let me know so we can get your correct evidence in there for Khan Academy. All right, there you go.